Welcome to the Etobicoke Lakeshore podcast. My name is Mike, and I am the friend of a guy named Roger Tuminieri. He has a great magazine in the South Etobicoke, Long Branch, Mimico area, along that beautiful stretch at the bottom of Toronto, along the lakeshore. It is just a wonderful place, and his publication is called the Etobicoke Lakeshore Press. Hi, Roger.
Hello, Mike. How are you today?
Good, man. First of all, I managed to put slippers on, so I'm all dressed up for today's show.
Yeah, I'm not even wearing socks today.
Oh, you are a hippie. I've told people this.
Right? Yeah, this is the impact of a quarantine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I said to somebody the other day, the more time I spend at home, for some reason, the more homeless I look. I don't know. It's if I
the irony.
Before we all go back to social non-distancing, I'm gonna have a real look at myself in the mirror, I think.
Oh man, I think shoe sales are going to be through the roof. People are going to want some new kicks after this.
You know, the other thing I heard is that there's going to be a baby boom, but a first baby boom, because if you're at home with other kids, A, you're not making other kids, and B, you probably wouldn't choose to after being quarantined with a bunch already. So there'll be a bunch of first babies.
They're the best form of birth control, I think.
Quarantine with your own
existing children. Yeah.
So true. Okay, well, look, please subscribe to the show. We do this with great regularity, and more so while we're all in isolation and quarantine and trying to pass the time together. We want to stay connected with the community, which is something Etobicoke Lakeshore Press does really well. I'm certainly, as a new guy to the realm, meeting an unbelievable lineup of people that are that community. And so please stay with us over the next number of episodes and forevermore. But we do have a focus on keeping an eye on the situation currently. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been fortunate enough to have some great guests. I think our podcast library has become fairly robust, and it's done so quite quickly. And today's guest is Alison Juda. She is the coordinator of the Mimico-by-the-Lake BIA. Alison and I first met 5 years or so ago when I started the publication, and she helped me along the way. She was quite good at connecting the dots for me, and so it's kind of nice to have her on the podcast. She can speak, I think, very intelligently about what it's actually like on the streets there, specifically in Mimico along the lakeshore.
Alison, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, I will point this out as we podcast now. Everybody is doing everything they can to be with us. The other day, Roger, you and I did one from your car. Alison is she's currently parked right now to join us. And by the end of today, I'm going to give up and I'll be in my car producing these things. But it's so funny. We are able to adapt, Alison, pretty quickly to any situation as humans. That's what I'm learning here.
Oh, most definitely. Even with the business owners, funny enough, I'm probably speaking more with them now than I have in the 9 years that I've been doing this job.
That's interesting. Now, let's talk about the impact, first of all. We know that there's economic impact with this, and the fallout of that. The government is trying to manage with certain funding and that sort of thing, which remains to be seen how that will affect our economy. But there is an immediate effect on businesses right in your area, businesses that I would go to for sandwiches or to pop in,
right.
Specialized retail. How are they handling it right now? What's the feel?
I've received a lot of phone calls, especially from some of the Freedom Mobiles, places like that, who have like 6 and 7 and 8 franchises, talking about how they're going to pay their rent with their landlords. So yeah, there's been a lot of that going on. A lot of questions. Grocery stores, with the Value Mart, the owner of the grocery store there, the troubles that he's having. Lots of different things.
And what do they come to you in hopes of finding some solution? I guess the BIA, it's been so active in that community in developing it into such a beautiful enclave. What do they come to you for now at the BIA?
I think a lot of it is for support and for direction, and because as the coordinator, I can listen to what everybody has to say. And then we're sitting in on a lot of Zoom meetings with TABIA, which is the Toronto Association of Business Improvement Areas. So being able to be that voice to take it back to those proper representatives that are going to speak on our behalf. So John Carew, who is the president of Tabia, we're able to reach out to him, and then he's able to take his concerns back. There are also a lot of counselors that are doing Zoom phone calls. The one phone call I was on yesterday had 100 people on the line.
That's amazing.
And they were all from different BIAs throughout the city of Toronto. So everybody just expressing the concerns collectively, and then, those reps being able to take it back to the table to the mayor, the premier, the prime minister, different people.
What are the top 3 concerns that seem to be consistent across all of the BIAs?
Rent and what's going to happen there, making sure that businesses aren't locked out, is probably the biggest one. I think theft right now, and there's a big concern with the businesses, so many businesses being shut down, and what that's going to look like for their area, and if there's going to be theft happening, and making sure that the streets are properly patrolled.
That's a big one.
And then I think the next question would just really be like, when?
Yeah.
When are we going to be able to open those doors back up?
And is there any indication right now coming back from the government, or no?
No, nothing at all. It's a day by day thing, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Like I think we could still potentially have full lockdown.
Yeah. It's very difficult. This uncertainty, I think, Alison, is the one thing. I mean, we have it as employees. We have it, I'm sure, at this point as family members, and even just as members of the community. Our kids have it. But when you are a business and you are told, nope, you have to lock your doors and not do business, it is a nightmare beyond anything most businesses ever anticipated.
Yeah, really. I'm really fortunate right now with me personally in my own job. I'm busier now than I have been in a while, and that's just making sure that the communication is there with the business owners and the property owners, because everything is changing from day to day, and what the government's able to provide to business owners. So just keeping on top of that and making sure all of our small business owners get that information as quickly as possible.
Now, you mentioned property owners, Alison. And I think a lot of people look at landlords as the big bad guy, but I think we have to probably be a bit more sensitive to their position here as well. Like, it's a business for them, and they're accountable to the bank and whoever holds their mortgage. But what's the general consensus coming from the property owners that you've talked to about this? Where do they stand?
The chair of our board, Alex Rodriguez, his family owns the Seaway Plaza, which is home to about 11 businesses right now. So he's a landlord for all of those businesses, and he also has a property upstairs, rental property. But he's saying out of those 10, if everybody stops paying rent, then obviously I'm not able to make my payments. And then things will happen. I think if you're not paying your rent to your property owners, then maybe the garbage isn't being picked up. There's like all these things will just kind of fall in line for what they're not able to pay for. So he is working with his businesses and, just asking them basically, well, what can you pay right now?
Yeah.
He also understands that sometimes there can be a lot of vacancies. So he finally is at a point where all of his buildings are rented out, leased out, and he's got some really great businesses in there right now, and that's taken a while for him to get to that spot where he was completely full.
Yeah.
And they are very reputable businesses in there now, so he understands that he has to work with them to offer some type of solution. He doesn't want to see them leave or close their doors, but they also don't want to be out of pocket as well either. Alice, so it's tricky,
Tell me this: is there any tidbits of advice that you're gathering from the other BIAs and talking to all of these businesses that would be decent survival tips for the moment? I put you on the spot with that, and the answer could easily be no, because there is such uncertainty that there is no right answer. But if there is, man, I would love to hear anything.
Well, there was actually one of the counselors, Brad Bradford, put out it was one of the things that we had asked for was, could someone come up with, like 10 different ways for tenants to deal with their landlords right now? So a list of things did come out that we forwarded on to our business owners, but mostly it's just to have that open communication and to just be patient and to try to be understanding that everybody's trying to work together, and the more open communication you can have with your tenants and landlords, that hopefully you can come to some type of compromise. Right now, nobody wants to see anybody have to shut the doors, so it's just having that open communication really, and trying to be patient and to just speak with kindness. There's a lot of that going on right now. There's a lot of even at the grocery store, there's a lot of irate people out there, and people that are frustrated and stuff, and they are taking it out on their landlords or business owners, and that's not the way to go right now. It really isn't.
It totally isn't. And by the way, completely human. I woke up this morning grouchy at the world about business, right? and so I get it, and I think we all do. It's just every day becomes a different exercise in managing the emotion around it and how you feel about getting back to life. Don't forget, this is a temporary situation. Everybody loves to keep adding months to this. I'm going to tell you, I watch the numbers on a day-to-day basis, and we have this virus under control in this country. You couldn't convince me otherwise. But to come back from the extreme measures that we've put into place is going to require deprogramming very quickly what we learned so fast to protect ourselves, I think. And I wonder how quickly that will happen. And as you say, everybody wants the definitive date, but I would imagine it's going to be staged to some degree, how we get back to retail and get back to school and get back to life.
It's going to have to be staged somehow. I don't see anything happening for at least another couple of months. There's not going to be any normalcy for a bit of time, for sure.
Yeah. I hope by the time we get to summer, we're starting to straighten all of this out, and the virus has taken a powder, as it were. It'd be nice.
And that's something a few weeks ago I was really looking forward to, because, we do a lot of events here in Mimico, where we have a pretty unique area where we have a park within our business area, kind of in the middle of our business area. So we do host a lot of events within that park. So I was sitting and waiting about park permits, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we do a summer music series. Maybe it won't go for July, but maybe we'll get there for August. And it's really not looking that way. And I was really excited to think, okay, so we have this small little community within the city where, on Friday nights we gather in the park to listen to some live music, and there might only be 100 to 200 people. So it's not like a huge gathering.
But it's a gathering.
It's a gathering, and we've been doing it now for 5 years. So people kind of look forward to it. I don't even have to go and source bands anymore. I have bands that come to me that just want to, even just guys in the neighborhood that have like garage bands that just want to play in the square, which is really cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
But we, I don't even think we're going to be allowed to do that this summer, which is really unfortunate.
Well, I'll tell you what we will do this summer. Being that we are Canadian and we manage many things together collectively, we'll find some goofy, silly way of getting by this summer, and with that same spirit, we'll get back to school, and we'll get back to business, and we'll get back to creating a vibrant area in Etobicoke South. And by the way, hats off to the BIA in that neighborhood. You can see the work that's been done there because the businesses work together. They know each other. They support one another. Where can people find out more about the BIA? This might be a really good time for a business who isn't a member or doesn't know about you guys to reach out and see if they can participate, help, or benefit.
Yeah, I just want to add to that really quickly is that as a community, we really do. We are the only group in the city of Toronto out of the 80 BIAs. So in Mimico, we work collectively with the Lakeshore Village BIA, Long Branch BIA, and Mimico Village BIA. We've been meeting collectively for 15, 20 years now, along with the councillor, 22 Division Police Department, and a bunch of other community stakeholders to better the whole kind of community, not just our own little areas, but, what can we do for the whole community? How do we support each other through shop local campaigns and stuff? But we are the only 4 BIAs in the whole city that do that.
That's
so
nice
it's really
to hear.
kind of,
That's
it is nice.
because you guys up against each other don't that doesn't make sense. Collectively, major change to an area takes place. That's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah, so that's really neat. But you know, to answer your question, I guess yeah.
Hello? Okay.
Sorry. So
No.
sorry. You can. We're in the middle of developing a new digital media campaign. So
Allison, just one sec. Sorry,
Sure.
I got a technical glitch just came to my end on you. You hung up there, but you're back with me. Sorry. Do you mind starting again?
Yeah, no, sorry. So the best way to find us currently right now, we don't have a website. Funny enough, we were in the process of starting a new digital media campaign this year. And it's funny how everything's worked out. But you can find us either at Mimico-by-the-Lake@hotmail.com or through Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Mimico-by-the-Lake BIA. Or you can just, you can Google it, the City of Toronto. You can Google Toronto BIAs, and a whole list of all the BIAs within the City of Toronto will come up with all of the contacts.
Well, I know Roger feels the same way because we have this discussion quite regularly. We have concern for our business friends in the community. We've been encouraging you to support the restaurants that are doing takeout service. Be at the local Shoppers Drug Mart. Try to support as much local as you can. And the great news about the people that you're supporting locally is we're watching them try to offer support back to other businesses that can't benefit right now. So when you impact one business, I promise you they're all looking out for each other so that they can be there when we all get back to this, get away from this reality back to life as we knew it. So I will encourage you to go and participate in those neighborhoods. And Alison, thanks so much for joining us and giving us this perspective.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. We have a really great community down here. You know, my favorite thing is when you see other businesses supporting other businesses. They get it, they understand, and that's key. So yeah, thanks so much for having me, and just support local as much as you can. You know, don't drive to the big box stores. Just see what you can find within your own little neighborhood in your mom and pop shops, and do your best to support your local community.
It's a great message. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Alison.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Happy Easter to you both.
Oh,
Happy
same
Easter.
to you.
Thanks.
Wow, that is I love a voice of reason in the community like that has so much interaction with business. It actually makes me feel better because the sense I got was, yes, everybody's suffering, but we're suffering together. We're looking for solutions together and trying to support one another.
And Alison is really passionate about what she does, and I think she cares a lot about the local businesses, and not just in that one pocket in Mimico-by-the-Lake, but just all along the lakeshore and up Royal York too. So what a great guest. I'm glad to have had her on the show today, Mike.
This is the Etobicoke Lakeshore podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. It comes with, Roger will send you $5 when you subscribe. Or did we change that policy? It's getting expensive. Never mind. Just subscribe. You'll get a bunch of goodwill and great karma. But we encourage you to do that because we are reaching out to people in the community that are trying to make a difference. And we would love maybe even to talk to you. If people wanted to reach out, Roger, where can they find you?
Oh, they can find me over email at etobicoke-lakeshore-press@gmail.com, or you can check out the website. You can read the most recent magazine copies on there, and listen to all of our podcasts at etobicoke-lakeshore-press.com.
Yeah, I like the digital version of the magazine. It's pretty slick, man. And,
a lot of people like it. Yeah, no,
yeah.
It does quite well. It's a different user experience, certainly, than...
Well, with my old man eyes, I can zoom in. With my bunny eyes, I can zoom in and actually read the bloody thing, which is great. All right, well, thanks for joining us. Thanks to Alison, and thanks to you, Roger. We'll catch you again next time.
Cheers. Thanks, Mike.